Living in the middle of nowhere sounds peaceful, Linda, until it isn't. These 5 stories come from people who discovered that isolation isn't always safe. And sometimes, it's the perfect setting for something truly horrifying. 1. The Cornfield Visitor, submitted by Derek from Indiana. I live on a small family farm surrounded by cornfields in rural Indiana. I've always enjoyed the solitude. No traffic, no neighbors blasting music at 2 a.m. Just peace and quiet. But last August, that quiet turned into something I'd rather forget. It was about 2 a.m. I couldn't sleep, so I sat on the front porch with a cold drink. The air was thick, and the only sound was the hum of insects. Our porch light flickered slightly, as it always does in late summer. Then I saw something move at the edge of the corn. It looked like someone ducked between the stalks. We don't have neighbors nearby, and my family was asleep. I grabbed my flashlight and scanned the area. Nothing. I figured it was a raccoon or maybe a deer. I stayed out for a few more minutes, then went back inside. The next morning, I found muddy, barefoot prints on the porch. They led up to the door and stopped. No prints walking away. I installed security cameras the same day. Since then, every few weeks, I catch a glimpse of something on the footage. A tall figure standing just at the edge of the corn. It never moves while on camera, but by morning, it's gone. 2. Dead Signal, submitted by Amy from Montana. Back in college, I rented a remote cabin in Montana for a week-long writing retreat. I was supposed to be working on a thesis, and this place had no Wi-Fi, no distractions, and no cell service. Perfect. The first 2 days were exactly what I needed. I wrote, hiked, and slept like a rock. But on the 3rd night, around 1:30 a.m., I noticed my phone blinking. 1 bar of service. Strange. I picked it up and saw a flood of messages, at least 30 of them, all filled with gibberish, just random characters, symbols, and numbers. Then a voicemail popped up. I played it. It was just static at first. Then, buried in the noise, a whisper, "I see you. I see you. I see you." I threw the phone onto the bed and tried to calm myself. Maybe it was a glitch? But the phone turned itself back on after I powered it down. And the voice kept repeating in my head. I couldn't sleep that night. By sunrise, I packed my things and drove 2 hours to the nearest gas station. The clerk just nodded when I explained what happened. "Yeah," he said, "it happens up there sometimes. Don't go alone." 3. The Lights on the Ridge, submitted by Travis from West Virginia. My wife and I live in a small house tucked in a valley in West Virginia. No neighbors, no traffic, just endless woods. Most nights it's dead silent, but every few months we see lights. They appear along the ridge behind our house. At first, we thought it was poachers or hikers with flashlights, but the way these lights move, it doesn't make sense. They dart too quickly, stop suddenly, then vanish. One night last fall, we saw 3 of them. They hovered just beyond the tree line. I grabbed my rifle and shined a powerful flashlight toward them. The second the light hit the trees, the orbs vanished. Then we heard it. A high-pitched tone, almost like a ringing in our ears that seemed to vibrate the walls. Our dog started barking, then suddenly bolted into the bathroom and wouldn't come out for hours. The next day, I hiked up to the ridge. I didn't find lights, but I found 3 burned patches of grass in a triangle. The ground smelled like ozone. I haven't gone up there since. 4. The Cellar Door. Submitted by Elena from Maine. When my grandparents passed, I inherited their old farmhouse in Maine. It was quiet, remote, and run down, but it felt like a fresh start, except for the cellar. Even in summer, it was freezing down there. And despite locking it with a chain, I would often find the door cracked open in the morning. One night, I woke up to a soft tapping. I followed it downstairs and realized it was coming from inside the cellar. I stood frozen in the hallway, then I heard it. A voice whispering my name, over and over, not in a threatening way, just soft and pleading. I opened the door with a flashlight and called out. The light barely penetrated the darkness, but the voice continued. I slammed the door shut and shoved a heavy dresser in front of it. Later, when I had a plumber over for a leaky pipe, he opened the floorboards near the kitchen. That's when we found it. A narrow crawl space that ran underneath the entire house and led directly to the cellar. I moved out a week later. 5. The Fog House. Submitted by James from Alaska. I work for a weather station in one of the most remote parts of Alaska. In the winter months, we rotate shifts. Someone always stays behind to monitor readings. In March, it was my turn to stay solo. I had supplies, books, and a satellite phone. I didn't expect trouble. On my 3rd night, a heavy fog rolled in. You couldn't see 3 feet outside. I was reading when the radio crackled. A voice came through. James, let me in. I froze. There wasn't supposed to be anyone else for miles. I responded, thinking maybe someone was stranded. No answer. Then came 3 slow knocks on the back door. I crept toward it with my rifle. Through the window, I saw nothing, just swirling fog. Then the voice again. Closer this time. James, it's cold. Please let me in. I didn't sleep. I sat with the gun aimed at the door until morning. When my team returned days later, they found footprints in the snow around the station. Dozens of them. Bare feet, but only one set. As if someone had been walking in circles for hours. If you enjoyed these stories, make sure to like, subscribe, and hit the bell so you never miss a nightmare. And if you've ever lived somewhere remote and seen something you can't explain, drop your story in the comments below. Stay safe out there, especially if you live far from help.